Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
The Honda-owned racecourse at Suzuka has emerged as one of the world's most demanding and rewarding motor racing circuits, packing a mix of almost every type of corner into a remarkably small space. Drivers rate it highly, mainly because it's one of the few circuits these days which still presents challenges to throw at them. It has also gained world recognition because of its unusual figure-of-8 layout, which has spawned countless Scalextrics imitations. Hello and welcome to the SRF Weekend Warriors presented by RaceVoice. It's round 9. We're live from Japan. I am Tim Cox. We've got Jonathan Grabowski in the virtual production trailer, but right now, as always, I'm joined by Andy Thompson. Andy, well, Lime Rock, last time out. I mean, I don't know why I should be surprised they didn't fail to deliver on action, excitement and drama, really, because it was just another average day in the Weekend Warriors.
It certainly was. Hello, Tim. Hello, viewers. And yeah, last week was extremely entertaining. You know, we had door banging, we had spins, we had cars flipping over. It was a great spectacle, and this week I'm imagining is not going to be any different. A completely different track than Lime Rock, so a little bit further than the 1.5 mile circuit of Lime Rock. It's going to be around about a 2:20, 2:19 lap times for these cars, but it's all going to be about maintaining that speed. It's a low powered car, and if you can carry the speed through these corners, you're going to be on for a winner. And also the other side of it is going to be the slipstream effect. These cars love a bit of slipstream, and I'm expecting some real good action pretty much throughout the whole entirety of this course. It's quite a fast flowing course with some really fast flowing bends, so I'm really looking forward to this one, Tim.
Now, as always, and I understand they're returning back for next season as well. This series is supported and sponsored by RaceVoice, with over 16 different notifications, including up, down, and downshift, over rev alerts, corner entry, turn in, and exit speed. It provides immediate feedback on driver and vehicle performance. Make sure you check them out. Go faster with the speed of voice. Head across to racevoice.com to check them out. They're brilliant software. But qualifying, as you mentioned, Andy, well underway right now before we head across into the usual 40-minute race, 40 minutes of action, drama, excitement, thrills and spills. And right now, on provisional pole, it's Aeronom, but only just by 700ths of a second. Then Naselli, Atenia Rice. He's got this weird knack, hasn't he, Andy, for just pulling out a mesmeric qualifying performance. Currently, second row of the grid, overall, 4th place. This is an amazing result by the Portuguese driver, and he's been able to convert that raw qualifying pace into more consistent race finishes the last couple of seasons. I think that's going to be one driver to really watch out for here today in Japan.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, obviously qualifying is like a race in itself. You know, being really good at the qualifying doesn't mean or that's going to relay to out on track, because obviously qualifying is all about a one lap. The race is obviously here tonight. We got a 40-minute race with the obligatory pit stop, which always throws up some things. But obviously having that Masters tag around you with the pros, the pros are probably just going to try and get past Reese as quickly as he can. But obviously just because he's in the Masters doesn't mean he hasn't got a high I rating. And he could obviously, if he wasn't in the Masters bracket, could probably find himself in the Spec Racer or S1 class here around. But he is very good at his qualifying session, his race there in 4th place. He just needs to get that converted now into the race and get a really good result overall.
It's trying to find a bit of space out on track right now as we head up through the snake. You can see where it's at. It's favoring the throttle there a bit as well. And this is the tricky thing, isn't it, qualifying in this series, Andy? There's always, week after week, big grid. Anything under 40 for this series is considered a small grid. This week, we've just got a few drivers yet to set times, but 30-something. 42 currently registered. Brandon Roseborough, someone we haven't seen for a little while. Yet to set a time. He's just heading out onto his first flying lap. That is a name to watch out for, because watch him leap to the top of the timing standings. And, well, I hope I haven't put the curse of the commentator on him at all, but definitely one to watch out for.
Yeah, certainly is. A lot of new names here tonight that I haven't seen in previous rounds, so it's good. But Gory has managed to dislodge Nom at the top of the grid at the moment. Still got 6 minutes left of qualifying, but Gory heads out the field at the moment. Nom in second, Naselli in third, Marnie in fourth, Reese obviously in the Masters there in 5th place, Jarrell in 6th, so that's a lot better qualifying than last week out at Lime Rom Park. Walker in 7th, Delago there in the S2 class in 8th place, so doing a cracking job there. Leone in P9th, and to round out your top 10 is green at the moment. But Delago and Reese doing a cracking job for the S2 and Masters at the moment.
He is indeed. He is indeed. And let's just, well, things are just quieting down. We've got around about 5 minutes left of qualifying. Let's take a little look across to championship standings. And for the S1 category, Naselli leading the way right now over Panero and Lin. After some cracking performances, finding himself up into 3rd. Aeronom into 4th right now, but only 3 points behind Lin. Drop weeks still need to be accounted for a little bit within that too, so especially when Nom had a couple of weeks off mid-season, still playing a little bit of catch-up, so there's that gap a little bit fictitious, but even so, it's work cut out. Marnie 5th, then it's Green, Mayer, Fritcher, Montalbot. Bobby West going to run out your top 10, but Felix Miles only 1 point behind West to get himself inside the top 10. Leone and not too far behind as well, but let's have a look into Spec 2. Les Noy leading the way, and rather comfortably to be fair, over Ian Gibson. Alan McCain in 3rd. He's had a mixed season. Probably a bit disappointing, certainly the second as we've moved into the second half of the season by his own standards. And, wow, on 373, looking well off the pace, 91 points behind. leader, Les Noy. Flavio and Darlow in 4th, Josh Medini 5th, then it's Jackson, Hansen, and Favini all incredibly close together, with Walbot on 290 and Sancinelli going to round out your top 10 on 214 points. Let's have a little quick look across to the Masters section of the standings. Well, it's tied up at the top between Haradsky and Beck on 407. Bradwell not far behind though on 399. We just see a bit of a spin there in the background from the 73. As we've got Batley in 4th on 393. Bit of a gap between himself and Beckett, who's got Ken hot on his heels on 346. Bradshaw 7th, Antonio Rice. Again, one of the drivers who's missed a few rounds, so a little bit lower down than where you would expect him if you see him if he'd been here for all the rounds. He's currently in 8th for long in. And Brewster going to round out your top 10, but tell you what, Stevie Ray, after that win last time out at Lime Rock in Masters, only 4 points off that top 10. But Nom, just while we're going through the standings, back up into provisional pole ahead of Gori, and also Panero heading in front of Gori. We've got 3 Italians in the top 4 right now, with Naselli making up that other slot. As there is Aaron Om trying to find a bit of a fresh air, bit of a gap out on track right now. Slim margin, only 100th of a second between himself and Panero, and I'm not even sure if he'd ran out of fuel there a little bit. It sounded that way, didn't it?
Certainly did. Extremely close, as always is the case with this spec racer board. It's extremely close at the top of the field. Not a lot of margins covering the top 3 at the moment. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars are extremely close, and that's always what we come to see with these cars. You know, the fine balance all on a fixed setup, so there's no difference in the setups of these cars, so it's all down to the drivers. And this being one of them big tracks, Tim, it's going to be entertaining, and it's going to be a bit different than last week out at Lime Rock Park. It's going to come down to tactics, and you know, I'm going to give this one to Dorelli, I think, in P8. I mean, we've seen some excellent tactics in Virginia, and obviously last in Indianapolis. Unfortunately, last week in Lime Rock Park, he was at the back of the field. But those 2 rounds, he really had a racecraft head-on, you know, coming into the final stages of that race. And if he's there or thereabouts, I wouldn't put it past him to make a move like he did in Virginia and in Indianapolis, to try and get that race win here today at Suzuka.
So, yet to set a time so far. There's only one driver, that's Jesus Rodriguez, Spaniard. He will start dead last in 43rd. And what are we going to experience here today? It's Suzuka. Wow. There he is heading out. He's got his work. Oh, he's not going to get a time in, is he? Look at the clock. 15 seconds left. I think he might make it as far as what?
Turn 1?
Yeah, maybe out onto the snake, you know, through turns 2, 3, 4, potentially. Yeah. And that's going to be the end of qualifying for him. So he won't get enough time in, so he would definitely be starting dead last. That's one thing we say for certain. Norm has set his last time. He's into the pits. Just having a bit of a look around to see who's on what lap right now. As no, sorry, Naselli, apologies. Get my ends at the top of the timing sheets mixed up there. Norm is on a flying lap, and he's just heading down the back straight up towards 130R across the bridge where the circuit crosses over just about now. Before he absolutely throws the car in. Feather of the throttle, just balancing it on there. And now it's into the hard braking zone. It is the Casio triangle. Look it right, clip the curb, do the same on the left, take a bit more curb. Over the throttle on the exit, trying to get a middle spin and shortest possible line, but that's an even shorter one, and that's into the pits. So he is abandoning that lap, so he's not going to improve. Panera about to come across the line as well, number 16. He is definitely, no, he's going to abandon his lap as well. Paolo Gori still out on track. Is he going to improve? Well, he's just coming down into the Casio. No, he's not. We're running straight on there, so that's another one crossed off the list right now. Jason Green, he's about to complete his lap, but he's into the pits. We're picking all the ones here that are heading into the pits pretty much. Antonio Rice still got a fair chunk of the lap to do. He's still got a couple of minutes in which to complete this lap, so plenty of time. Likewise, Yangji Lin, a little bit far down the qualifying standings right now compared to where we normally see him, down in 8th. But what has the Chinese driver got up his bag, hugging the inside wall there, trying to find the shortest possible path on the run-up to 130R. Here we go. And a little bit more tentative on the turn in there, Andy, compared to... Wow.
I wouldn't say that was tentative. That was on the ragged edge there. Literally got to the outside of the track and unfortunately couldn't keep it. You could see he was sort of losing it as he was going around there, and then the car just spat him out, as we see there. Literally got on that high side of the curb and literally offset him.
Matthias Weiger doing exactly the same there himself. Carbon copy of what Lin did. All drivers trying to cram in their last times. And it all going wrong for them. Well, Weiger and Lin's case. And Darlow, he's still got time to try and get this lap in. It is a long lap here in these cars at Suzuka. 2 minutes 20 compared to the sub-minute laps we experienced last time at our Lime Rock. A very chalk and cheese at opposite ends of the scale in terms of lap times, but Sandalo rounds 130R. He's currently all the way down in 31st. Has struggled a little bit this season by his own standards as the Brazilian. Onto the brakes through the Casio triangle, and no, I think that's going to be done and dusted with that potential line. I think we're going to see him pull into the pits. Yes, we are. He was the last driver out on track, so that is as done and dusted in qualifying. And Nicelli claiming pole here in Japan. Let's tee things up nicely for an epic race, and Antolo just missing his pit box there and reversing up. Doesn't want to be doing that under racing conditions at all, really, because it will incur a penalty if you reverse a little bit too far, not to mention the amount of time that you will lose. But let's just head across into the race session. There's now 40 minutes of racing about to get underway. Let's take you through your grid for round 9 of the championship from Suzuka. Nicelli on pole, Aero Nom on the front row with him, with Nicelli's teammate starting directly behind him. That's Marco Pinero, with fellow countryman Paolo Gori starting alongside him in the second row. James Walker, someone who's been reinvigorated this season. See strong performances from him. He's got Jorg Marni for company on the third row of the grid. Antonio Rice, the Masters driver, 7th overall, 4th row with Yangji Lin. Sergio Dorelli, previous race winner this season at VIR, he starts 9th with Delago, the Brazilian, alongside him. There's 2 South Americans making the 5th row of the grid. Luca Leone and Jason Green are on the 6th row, with the 7th row of the grid being made up from Matthias Weiger and Todd Hansen. Dudo Castro has Brandon Roseborough, a bit of a disappointing qualifying for the RSR esports driver, well down by his own standards. Alan McCain, that's alongside Aidan Campbell on the 9th row, with Ken Batley and Lesnoy taking up to 20 and the 10th row of the grid. Jeff Fritscher has Tom Gradwell for company, with John Vogel and Marcus Burkitt up to 24th place. That is Serge Montembout and Butenga, with Haraski and Favini, Brewster and Makarevi taking up to 30th and 15th row of the grid. That is Fabio Andalo and Tris Pedidi, with Kurt Nunes and Adam Bradshaw to 34th. Bob Kern and has Paul Jackson alongside him for company, taking up to 36th. Then it's Nelson and Yori Cox, Jeff Cantor and Gary Wolbolt for row 20 and 40th position, with Jean-Claude Bukaboba and Bruno Conte. Your last complete row, row 21, with Jesus Rodriguez, the only driver not to set a time during qualifying. Spaniard starts last in 43rd. Everyone lining up now behind the Porsche 911 safety car. A couple of drivers have not made the grid. Bob Kern and Paul Jackson, they will both start from the pits. Both those two as well were lined up on similar rows. So, see a little bit of a gap in the field there where people making places could be them. But here we go. The anticipation builds. We know we're in for 40 minutes of drama, excitement, and thrills and spills. Don't go anywhere. Don't answer the door. Don't answer the phone, because you are not going to regret missing this one at all. as the SRF Weekend Warriors gets underway for round 9 from Suzuka in Japan. As we head through the Casio triangle, the safety car's going to pull in. Naselli's going to take control of the pace of the pack. There goes the safety car. As here come the lights, and let's get ready to go racing in Japan in the SRF Weekend Warriors, and we are green, 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 and Naselli pulling away, but Nom going with him right up to the line. Actually, Nom not getting the best of starts, to be fair, but Panero following his teammate all the way through, and Walker already up a place. Rice already, he's up 2 as well, up into 5th. He's had a blinding start already. Paolo Gori's dropped down from the field, likewise Giovanni. Lynn down a place. Further back in the field, it's all happening with Nelson the Dane making up 4 places already in these early stages. As we head into the Snake for the first time, everyone just trying to keep on the line. They know if they come off it, they'll end up in a whole world of pain where they try to get back on it, and drivers will be streaming through past them. They'll lose a lot of places. Everyone nose to tail in these early stages. We've all got away cleanly on the first quarter of the first lap as we head down to the Degners. Careful into the first one, really hook it up into the second one and launch it through, bouncing across the curves is Antonio Rice there as they head up towards the hairpin. Well, first in the real big braking zones on this opening lap, and everyone nose to tail in one long line and nobody looking to make these moves. It's a bit of a tentative game right now and everyone playing it safe, but I say that just ahead, Antonio Rice, you can see him on the attack a little bit as we ride on board with Yarbas del Lago.
Yeah, definitely a great start there from Panero, but I think he had a bit of help from his teammate out front, so the two teammates telling each other when they're going to go, which made give a jump on Aero Nom at the start of the race. But Antonio Reese, I mean, up 2 places in 5th place. The man is on fire at the moment. Just he's keeping it nice and clean and just make up the positions. Obviously, we can see the power of the slipstream as well coming down here, down the long back straight before we come into 130R for the first time as we ride on board with Antonio Reese, and he just closes him down. Oh, extremely close getting in there to Walker, car number 96 in front. So very quick and nimble through that part of the section of the track.
Well, there's a spinner in the background, Andy. Oh, there's another secondary incident into the Casio triangle. 2 separate incidents there. One out of 130R, one into the Casio triangle. I mean, Conti Viger, one of the dream drivers, caught up in that one. Jason Green, I think, additionally, as Viger into the pits. Cantor making up places, left, right and centre. Bungoka as well, the Frenchman, he's up 7 places into 34th. As Roseborough in 12th right now, up 4 places, and everyone's shuffling up a little bit, but nose to tail. There is no breakaway group in these early stages like you normally start to see, which is surprising really, Andy, because we're only on lap 1, but it is a long lap as we're just getting a replay now. So that is what happened to, well, there's one spin in the background. Oh, Green got hit from behind there, didn't he? I think was that by, that's a 22. Was that, yeah, Matthias Viger.
Yeah, that was overextending there for Viger, unfortunately picking up another driver there. But the other spinner was an exact carbon copy of the 2 we saw in the qualifying. Literally that 130R, if you get onto the outside of it, it sort of unsettles a car. But we'll have a look here with Viger, what happened here, how he closed so quickly. Did he just miss his braking marker on this first lap? You normally try to think, oh, he literally, just the field just closed up on him. I understand, obviously, the first lap, everyone's a bit tentative with the tyres warming, so maybe didn't take that into account and just tried to use his normal braking marker when these tyres are warm, but certainly hit into the back of the car in front and causing extensive damage to both cars. But currently watching Rosberg here. Oh!
Bit of contact in the background there. Something's happened to Walker as well. He's losing a lot of places. That was Rosberg making his way past Luca Leone. That is him up into 11th, the American. But well, hopefully we'll get to see what happened to Walker shortly. But I tell you what, this whole nose to tail still at the front end. So here is Walker. So he runs it out wide into Spoon there, Andy, and back onto the track and disappears.
certainly did. Got that corner completely wrong. Oh, he's come up again. That's coming
that's
down the
Roseburg.
140R. And another one around as well.
Is that Alan McCain in the background? No, it's not. I didn't quite catch who it was. Might have been Johan Botenga. He's losing quite a few places. So, wow, drama here. It's Lynn on the attack in the background there, up the inside of Jorg Marnie, as we see our lead group file through. And Antonio Rice is staying right on the rear end of that breakaway group before. Starting to see the groups merging. Walker running wide in the background too. This is back into session, majorly linked up. But here's what happened to Brandon Roseborough. All looking good into 130R, and then just dips it over the edge of the curb, Andy, onto the AstroTurf, and that's what's causing him, well, and also a few of the other drivers, just to lose the rear end and hit it straight into the wall.
Yeah, we've seen quite a few drivers. We saw one just in the back of that shot on that replay of a car doing exactly the same. That 130R at the moment is causing a lot of issues to some of the drivers, certainly the ones that are trying to overextend themselves into that corner. If you get up out onto that curb on the outside and literally put your right wheels on the right-hand side of it, it literally bottoms out the car, and that's where we're seeing a lot of the cars spinning. But back at the front, Naselli and Pinero still managing to keep ahead of Aeronom. Reese at the moment in 4th place, up in position. Obviously that was due to Walker just taking it a bit wide, coming down into the spoon and then disappearing. So Magician Walker there just literally disappearing and then coming back on in 10th place. So Walker there is not had the best of starts, down in P10th at the moment, was in P4. So we do know he is fast, so he will be trying to make a charge at the moment as we go on board with Lynn. You can see the how close the cars are in front, and it's literally just like a slipstream fest at the moment at the front of this group. You may be able to get a little bit of gap, but this long back straight just puts everyone back in together, and the car's trying to be a little bit tentative now coming around the 130R, trying not to get that right hand wheels on the outside of that curb, because that is treacherous.
And we always thought we seemed to see a bit of a breakaway group of 5, maybe 6 cars. Tonight it is 9. Naselli through all the way down to 9th place to Largo. Breaking away and getting it away from Walker. Walker would have been amongst it, which would have been a top 10 breakaway, which would have been absolutely astounding. But Walker now in a group by himself. No one to slipstream, as Castro's just made it past Leone for 11th. I was about to see Leone. Oh, actually, Leone in the 172. They might lose another place. Yes, he does. That's Aidan Campbell up the inside into turn 1, the ironically named first corner, and just dipping back in there in front of Alan McCain in the 212 machine.
I mean, that's
great move.
That's classic, like you were saying at the start. If you get offline, you literally hang yourself out to dry. And we saw a classic case of it there. A car getting out extremely wide, and 2 cars just picking his pocket, because you can't get back onto the racing line. So there was a perfect illustration. But currently watching Campbell there in 12th position at the front of the grid, and there's 4 cars here, or 5 cars, just fighting out Campbell's second car in this group. So Campbell trying to chase down the P11 of Castro in front of him, but starting to see little gaps starting to form out. But certainly out front is where the action are, the big group. We do normally see, like you were saying, Tim, a breakaway group of 2 or 3 drivers, but this one certainly going against the grain and having a large field at the front of that grid, all the way down to P9. I think Lynn and Dago there is getting a little bit caught off the back of that front group, but Walker at the moment in no man's land. But this battle out on track with Fritcher here, trying to look down Gradwell, the Masters driver in front of him, to try and make the pass and move. So it's all sort of going. I think the first lap was leading us into a false sense of security, Tim, because since lap number 2, it has all been going on.
You see it in the foreground there, the 38 of Aidan Campbell just trying to make his way past Dudu Castro, gets the move done. There's Fritcher there on the attack too. And oh, something's happened to Dorelli, I think. He's losing a lot of places. Yes, there he is, off. He had managed to get ahead of Jorg Marnie and himself up into 6th place, but our former race winner in the 86 is off. And that was into the Casio triangle. Lynn came off the track too. So, be interesting to see what happened between those guys. So, that is the Castro, and let's see. Here we go. So here's Dorelli onto the brakes. Does he overshoot it? Oh, loses the rear end. And Lynn had to take a veto out. Yes, it was one of those. Do you go left? Do you go right? Elected left, and well, when Dorelli held his brakes, it actually didn't pay into Lynn's hands. And Lynn is now down into 8th, still in with a shout though, that top group, but there is a gap emerging between York Marnie and Delago. Well, actually, it's got a big gap as well, and Lynn and Walker's been brought back into it now because of that incident. Oh, just slowing up there. I think that's one of the back markers in the background. Yes, I think that's Conti. So we've got Haraski into the pits. This is a bit of early stopping here. 10 minutes on the clock, out of 40. Quarter 8 distance complete. Nicelli leads from Panero, Nom, Rice in third, leader in Masters. There's all the slope card there. Who is that? That is Ken Batley.
Going slow extremely wide. He's been going slow for pretty much the whole lap. I understand he probably is he a back marker? No, he's not.
He's not.
He's going extremely slow.
Oh, there's someone else off in the hairpin there, running a bit wide. As we see Luca Leone on the attack around the outside of Jeff Fritcher. That is a pass for 14th, or is it? Fritcher's going to be inside for Spoon, but let's have a look at what happened. This is Ken Batley. We can see now what happened to him. Maybe just clipped the kid a bit too much on the inside, Andy, and picked up a slowdown. Oh no, just went rally crossing.
He seemed to go slow. I mean, did he hit the wall and down?
So there we go, from that large cut where he lost the rear end, saved it, and managed to avoid the barrier. He would have picked up a slowdown, so I'm guessing he was just burning off that. But it cost him so dearly, as we see. Wow, there is Leone in the 172. Look who's ahead of him, though. It is Dorelli after that incident, all the way down to 15th. Biggest gainer so far. Jesus Rodriguez started dead last. He's up into 29th now, 14 places. As that is, I think, Dorelli exits. Oh, wow, a big wreck on the back straight. Who's involved in that? As here comes Jackson through. Trespedini caught up in that one. The 3-1-2, which is, I think, was it Conti, another driver. And possibly even Jeff Cantor also. Well, that car's seen better days. It's had it, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's totally a very unusual place to have an incident coming down that back straight. So not quite sure what happened there as we're just watching the 3-2-1 car come in. Where is that? That's coming into Casio corner, just literally getting it wrong again. So not having the best of laps there. So let's have a look. No, it's a little bit late as we watch 767 car coming into the pits. Oh, there we are. I mean, that's a very strange place coming down that back straight. All I can think of is the slipstream effect came into just ground rushed the car that was behind and literally just careered into the back of the car in front coming up towards the 130R.
But we've got a battle on for the lead still. This breakaway group and Nicelli, Panero, Nom, Rice, Glory, Marnie, and we're going to get the oh, there you go. That's what happened. They came together. The 160. Oh, here we go. There's going to be, wow, 4 cars involved. The 949 and the 959, I believe that was. Oh, wow. So Nelson, after going strong, he was the Dane, was one of the cars caught up in that incident.
Certainly,
wow.
At the front of this grid now, the cars have been whittled down to 6 with all the incidents that we've had in this track. I mean, Jonathan in the production booth, I think I can smell his fingers on the keyboard trying to give us all the replays that are currently going on. They are coming thick and fast at the moment around this track. I mean, it's catching a lot of drivers off at the moment, Tim, but what it's not catching off is Nicelli and Panero at the front, still managing to keep their cars in front of Aero Nom in 3rd base. Reese is still managing to keep that car in 4th place, atop of the Masters at the moment. moment. Gory in 5th and Manny are your lead group. Lynn's just been cut off at the moment after the earlier incidents that he's had, but he'll be trying his best to try and get onto the back of this front running group, or Lynn, at the moment. But Galago there in 8th place is the top of the S2 class at the moment, so he's having a good race as well, 3 positions ahead of McCain, and it's good to see McCain up in the top half of the field, Tim. I mean, like you were saying at the start, he's had a real mixed fortune in the second half of the season, involved in a lot of incidences, which has really put paid to his championship race at the moment. But it's great to see him at the top end of the field, McCain, at the moment.
It's been a big incident out on track involving Hansen, Bukuboza, and I think Makarivi as well. As well, one of the drivers heading out the pits, that's Jean-Claude Bukuboza. And wow, here's the replay. Let's see what happened. There's Serge Monton, but wow. Oh, he spun Makarivi. And are we going to see him make contact? No. So is it on the rejoin, or is there a separate incident potentially between them? So he gets going again. Oh no, too much onto the loud pedal. A bit too quickly there, Andy, flicking the car around.
Yeah, obviously angry with himself that he spun the car, and then just to add salt into that wound, spun it again. So unfortunately lost a lot of time there. And the big thing about these cars is losing momentum. If you lose momentum in these cars and you're in a battle, you're going to lose positions, because it's going to take you so long to get the cars back up to speed. But these front 6 at the moment just starting to jostle with each other. Aeronom trying to look down the inside there of Pinero, not quite getting it done, but Reese at the moment is looking really racy all over the back of Aeronom at the
Sully
moment.
and Pinero are in, Andy, so the first 2 cars to break away on the 16-minute mark. Dom, Rice, Gory, Marnie and Lynn all carry on now that lead group. Delago too. Although the latter two, you can see just a bit of a gap as Marnie up the inside here of Gory. This for 3rd position, trying to sneak it through, just backs out of it a little bit there. But now we're going to have a true benchmark of Nicelli and Pinero against the rest of the field. As we look back from Nom, there's Antonio Rice, 1st and 2nd at the moment. Rice has Gory filling his mirrors in that number 80 right now. And Nom, you know full well, will be pushing hard for these in-laps.
Certainly will. We're just looking at the background there as Lynn. He's starting to close that gap down. It was around about 3 seconds. It's now down to just around about 2 seconds. So Lynn is really on a charge trying to get onto the back of this. But one thing we haven't talked about, Tim, is obviously the infamous pit stop strategies that these guys go through. I mean, I was just seeing when the end of qualifying there, that run into the pit lane is extremely fast. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some cars maybe getting some speeding penalties coming into that pit lane, just to try to get that extra couple of cents of advantage coming into there. But it's extremely fast, so it's going to be interesting.
See Vogel getting a bit of a nudge from Campbell behind him there. The 2 Americans duel it out over 18th place right now. Highest position gainer, Jesus Rodriguez. Yet to stop though, so it will get adjusted when he does, but currently up 27 places. A Formula Renault 3.5 Championship official race on iRacing. The maximum grid you can have in that is 25. Just to put that in perspective here of the sort of numbers that we are dealing with, currently in 16th, but does have our previous leaders, Nicelli and Pinero, right onto his tail. As they look to try and push their way through the traffic. And with a long lap here, Andy, I am left wondering about Nicelli and Pinero, if they've pitted too early, as we see a battle there. That is Marcus Beckett and Bob Kern dueling out into Spoon. But it's not like Lime Rock last week, where you could maybe, it's Antonio Rice is into the pits. Be interested to see where he comes out in relation to the others. Castro in too. Obviously, Lime Rock last week, you were going to catch up with the back markers incredibly quickly, so pitting early might play into your hands because of then getting out into some fresh air. But here, with such a long lap, surely it'd be worth waiting till you pretty much came up to the tail end of the field and then pitting, as we see side-by-side action into 130R, just backing out a little bit, just caught up onto the curb there was Jack Fritcher. And, well, it's losing 2 places, then gaining 1 back against Fafini. 2 step backwards, 1 step forward for him. But, Andy, I do wonder whether the early stop here might not be the quickest route to victory.
No, I mean, obviously the front 2 teammates obviously had the tactics as we watch here. Ocon just trying to put it down the inside, managing to get that move done there as we watch there. And in fact, no, that was Fritcher on Burkitt managing to get that move.
Oh, that's Walker off. No, it's Les Noy. Apologies. I just saw the red livery. Exactly, you love his livery, don't you?
I love it.
He's lost a few places, down to 29th overall. He has already pitted, so what happened? That's McCain behind him, who's too far back to make contact. He's just going to leave the rear. Yes, he is. Oh, it starts to go. He corrects it, and then it just snaps on him, Andy. But I think he's got away with that. It's that gentle tap with the barrier.
Yeah, literally just kept it out the wall there and causing some severe damage. So Lesnoy, oh, he's got a little bit of damage on his rear right quarter there, as we can see. So that immaculate paintwork is a little bit scuffed up. But yeah, took him going back to the pit stop strategies. I mean, the front 2 being teammates had the ideal opportunity to decide between the 2 of them what their pit stop strategy was going to be. Now, the good thing that they had as an advantage, and one of the things that is going to be an advantage around here, is the slipstream effect. If you lose that slipstream effect around a track like Suzuka, you're going to lose a lot of time. But being teammates, they can actually work together when they came out of the pits and still keep the speed up. At the moment, it's obviously Aeronom at the front, Gory in second, Manny in third. They've still yet to pit along with Lynn. So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, it's an extremely long lap, 2 minutes 20 for these drivers to get around. So, I mean, maybe fuel will come into it a bit more around these longer tracks than, like you were saying, around Lime Rock.
Into the pits there is Tom Gradwell. Just coming off track as Bradshaw's had a bit of an incident too. We've also got Lanoy and Kurt Nunez into the pits. New fastest lap for the race from Jorg Marni, 220.47, but Gradwell into 130R and clips the curb of 40, saved it, Andy, but not quite.
No, another one of the casualty of that 130 out a corner. I mean, it's treacherous, isn't it? As soon as you get your car in there, the car just gets unsettled, and it's like a lottery if you're going to survive it or not. And at the moment, I don't think we've had one driver that has managed to survive at the moment. But Nom coming under a lot of pressure from Gory in second place at the moment. It's not something we normally come to see with Nom. It's normally Nom putting a lot of drivers under pressure. And if he manages to get out front, he normally tries to leap away from the rest of the field. But certainly not having it all his own way here at Suzuka. Gory keeping him extremely honest. At the moment, these front 3 and Manny not that far off the back of these 2 drivers out in front. So, yeah, something a little bit more for Aeronom to think about here.
Definitely that way right now, isn't it? Yes, we have got a real race on our hands here. 23 minutes complete, Andy. Nom leading from Gory, Marnie and Lynn in that lead group. Delago not far behind. Campbell, Vogel, and Darlow and Montebaut. Naselli making it top 10. Of course, Naselli has stopped. Likewise, Panera. They're the top 2 cars. Antonio Rice, who was in amongst them, has emerged just on the back end of that group. So he is still in a little bit of contention. No, apologies. I misread that. It's Brewster. He's up ahead of him, 1.7 seconds. So actually, he's lost quite a bit of time during those round of pit stops, as Lynn and Delago are both in for the pits. They're all starting to come in here, Andy, and it makes me wonder just how long some of these drivers are going to run this. We started to see a bit of a transition from shorter pits, earlier pit stops now, of what we've seen in the past few rounds. And of course, we saw one within opening 10 minutes when we visited Indianapolis, but looks like things might be returning back to how they were when a few drivers elected to run this in as deep and as long as possible.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think that probably is the better tactic around here. I mean, it's a really long track. the field will be massively spread out. Now, these three at the front, when they pit in, they should have the opportunity to be able to get out in some clear air, because everyone else behind them would have looked at pitting already, and therefore, you know, limits the amount of cars that are going to pass you. I mean, we look at Pinheiro and Naselli at the moment. Where have they come out? They've got ahead of Lynn, so Lynn has lost a lot of time. So maybe that Pinheiro and Naselli have done a master stroke here, because as you saw before, Reese and Lynn were quite close to these two guys out on track, but they're a million miles away from coming out on the pit stops at the moment. So these two may have pulled off a masterclass in pit stop strategy. Only time will tell when Nom, Gori and Marnie come in to see where we all finish up after the round of pit stops. I mean, it's just such a lottery, these pit stop strategies, and it always plays havoc in these SRF races, and it just adds the excitement going into the final quarter of the match.
I'm trying to do some rough maths here, Andy, and I think that Naselli and Pinheiro haven't played this one right, as we see our lead group that's been whittled down to 3 cars, Nom, Gori and Marnie right now. I think, when we were talking about that strategy earlier, maybe it was better to run longer. I think these guys might be pulling this one out of the bag, because they're currently lapping quicker than Pinheiro and Naselli are, who have been caught up in a little bit of traffic where they came out into the midfield. And I know they're slipstreaming one another as they're trading places, and just to try and drag themselves along and get the jump. You see in the background there, Antonio Rice, who's currently, what, second in classes right now, but that is because Jim Brewster is yet to stop. And Darlow leading Spec 2, Montenbaut second in class, Delago third, but the top 2 are yet to stop, so expect Delago to head back to the top as Aidan Campbell heads into the pits. They're starting to thin out less of drivers who haven't pitted than have. We've only got some, 9 drivers who've yet to head into pit road, being everyone up to and including 6th place. Also, Jesus Rodriguez, Jim Brewster, he's in 11th, and Yuri Cox in 13th place right now. As you just see, Fritcher trying to make his way past Luca Lanoy. These two have been battling out for quite a while, but they need to get after McCain. There's all bump drafting going on there from Fritcher, as they can see McCain disappearing off into the distance, and oh,
I think that little bump draft just put him off there coming around into turn number 1, and then unfortunately he lost it, and then the car just hit into the back there. I mean, let's have a look at the replay here. Coming down to the 172 car in front, gets a bump draft there. Just see how much he gets catapulted in front. I think he just loses it on the corner, and then the car behind just has no choice. He's a passenger in that accident, but both of them there doing really well, and unfortunately have put pay to their day's races. But back out the front at the moment is still Errol Narmagori just behind him. Manny just looking at the back of an opportunity to maybe get a passing move done. Comes out of the slipstream, which is very unusual as they come down to 130R. They must be looking at pitting very soon, Tim, as you know, an extremely long lap around here in Suzuka, 2 minutes 20. So you know, the fuel is not going to be as forgiving around tracks like Lime Rock, so they managed to stay out again for another lap. So these 3 drivers going very deep, which is the normal tactic we see in the SRF, into this race. And yeah, I've got to tend to agree with you with Pinheiro and Naselli. They're losing a lot of time with some of the back markers at the moment. When they get a bit of free air, they are matching the pace of the top 3. But I think the fact that they've been stuck behind these back markers for so many laps, pitting so early, that I think it may put pay to their race at the end of the day when the top 3 finally do come in for their pit stop.
As we've talking a bit stops, Vogel, Montenbaut, Yuri Cox all into the pits. Heading down pit road right now, but it's getting interesting. It's getting tight. The clock is ticking down. We've got 11 minutes of racing left here at Japan. Round 9 of the SRF Weekend Warriors, presented by RaceVoice. And it's, oh, whoa, that was a little bit close there. Wow, that could have been a big shunt heading into the pits. That was the 9.16 there. Almost Bob Kern almost tripping up a few other cars around him. That could have been a big incident there. Luckily it wasn't. And everyone keeps going as we see McCain with Campbell all over his tail right now. As they head through the snake. And you can see here where Campbell is just trying to size up McCain right now. Trying to shift him around to force him offline. Force him into a mistake, it seems, Andy.
Yeah, it certainly does. Just lining up that passing move. Obviously, Alan is his confidence hit after the last couple of rounds here, so we'll be feeling the pressure of Campbell behind him, the S1 driver, as he looks up into Degner's there into the first part, but backs out. He is literally just poking his nose at any opportunity for Alan McCain to see that he's there, putting him under all sorts of pressure. So I think it's only a matter of time before Campbell makes that move or opportunity. But at the moment, Alan McCain just soaking up a little bit of pressure, going extremely defensive there, which may give Campbell the opportunity coming down into Spoon.
I tell you what, it's amazing how McCain is trying to fend him off right now, but this could be the moment for a Campbell trying to find his way the long way round to size up onto the inside, has to back out of it, can't carry enough momentum, but McCain just runs in a bit too deep. They almost bang wheels there, and that is Campbell through, but there is Dom and Marnie in. Gory carries on. Wow. Oh no, Marnie's overshot his box.
Oh, that's not good. So that would have lost him a couple of tenths there, Marnie. So Nom will get out with a decent gap over Marnie. But Gory, very strange why he didn't pit in. So as we come up there and Errol, as we look, we see in the background there, Maselli and Pinero, you can just see the amount of time that those two guys have lost pitting so early at the moment. Just trading places at the moment. They just seem to be trading places to give each other the slipstream opportunity. I mean, have they got enough fuel? And that is why they're swapping the cars over. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen, I don't know if you have, Tim, of anybody actually running out of fuel in this SRF weekend races.
We've seen it come very close, Andy. We have seen it come very close numerous times before and people chugging across the line, but they were stopped slightly long in the Selly and Pinero. So no, yes, you're right, Pinero was stopped less time than what Aero Nom was, but I tell you what, it's going to be interesting, isn't it?
It certainly is. It's one of them races again where have they got enough? Haven't they? I don't know. But obviously they're flip-flopping each other to be able to get the slipstream effect. But again, I mean, we've seen it time and time again. How does Aero Nom do it? Manages to come into the pit round behind the front runners, and then after the pit, he manages to get out about a 2 or 3 second lead.
I think that's all come down to pit strategy, Andy. We spoke about it earlier in the race, and it seemed like a bold move from Pinero and Naselli to pit that early. And clearly, where he put him out into traffic, it's just not worked for them. Dom went later, he went deeper. Now, the interesting one for me is Paolo Gori, who is still yet to pit. He's leaving it late, isn't he? I mean, he's still going to have a chance. He's fueled up clearly to the max. Well, there you go. He is in. Now, where is he going to come out in relation to Aero Nom? That is the big question that we need to be answered right now, and we're not going to find out very, very shortly, because here comes Nom. He's in Casio. Gori's still heading down the pit road. He's heading there. Oh, well, he's overshot it. That's done and dusted for Paolo Gori, the Italian, in with a chance of a big result here. He's heading on pit exit. I tell you what, he's going to come out in this battle for the last of the podium paces, the best of the rest, because there goes Naselli, there goes Pinero, there is Jorgmani. He's going to slot in behind the Swiss driver. So not quite done and dusted for Gori, but it could have come out in front of this group and possibly right alongside Aero Nom.
Yeah, it certainly was. The last lap from Gori was a 2:22.8, so a relatively slow lap there, in lap for Gori to not really capitalise in just added to his woes by missing his pit box and having to reverse back there. So he puts himself behind Manny in 5th place at the moment, so losing out a few places as Gory. Been extremely fast over the weekend, but Reese at the moment, I mean, you can just see the gap on the sort of timing tower from himself to Burkitt, the 2nd place in S2. I mean, it's 9 places, so it's a decent amount of points here for Reese to be able to claw back, as he's having a little bit of a battle with Lynn in front of him. And Lynn, unfortunately, has his earlier incidents and escapades have really put pay to him getting a really good result here. But at the front, you've got Nom with a 3.3 second lead to the pre-pit round strategies leaders of Naselli and Panero, who got an excellent start off the line. I mean, I just don't know how the man does it. He's just got such a racing brain. I mean, we saw, I mean, you mentioned earlier on of earlier pit stops, and that was in Indianapolis, where Nom just pitted after about 4 laps. And this race, he's just gone completely the other way and pitted extremely late. And whatever the man seems to do, it just comes gold.
You can see why he is the reigning champion and also the driver holding the most championship titles to his name in the SRF Weekend Warriors. So we see this battle, as always, up and down the field, hotly contested places. And this is the battle all over 20th right now. Brewster, Nunes, Gradwell, Cox, all nose to tail with one another. As we see heading down into Spoon there is something's happened to Gory. He's headed straight into the pit. That does not look good for him. So we've got the replay coming in here. So he's at the rear end of this train. It's the infamous corner. I think we know what's coming, Andy.
Yeah, you could tell a million miles what was happening.
I got a bit worried there because Lynn was coming through like a freight train with Antonio Rice. It's back to this battle. I was a bit worried something might happen to him, but Kurt Nunes just opening up a little bit of gap. Bruce under a lot of pressure right now from from Gradwell and Cox, taking the defensive line. All of them closest to the pit wall, then to the racing line right now as they head back onto the racing line to open up into the first corner. Down they go. And they remain as they were, but it's closed up. And I'll tell you what, Jerry McAreevy is heading up onto the back of this group as well. Someone's had definitely an eventful race. So far, your biggest position climber, 10th place, Flavio Andalo, the Brazilian, up 21 places. And he's closing in on the back of Aidan Campbell. So that is not fully done and dusted yet. You could climb up to 22. No, sorry, forget that. Scrap that. Jesus Rodriguez.
I was going to say, I think it was Jesus Rodriguez up 31 positions.
Oh, honestly, Andalo's paltry, meaningless 21 against Jesus Rodriguez is 31 places, 10 more places. He is the Spanish Andreas Bertoni, as Jonathan, our producer's just said in my ear right now. An amazing race, back in the grid, didn't set a time in qualifying, and now finds himself up in 12th. He's going to get a nosebleed, he's that high up the standings compared to where he started. As we sit right on board right now with Yormani, that is Panero ahead of us. Naselli hot on our tails, right behind us. We head out of the Casio Triangle, but if these guys start battling, Andy, and I think, yes, they're going to take the white flag. Yes, there you go. There's Eru Nom. The white flag flies here in round 9 at Suzuka. Last set of opportunities to make up places as Lynn's into the pits. Is that a drive? No, he's pulling. I think he must have underfueled.
It certainly looks that way, but that's not what you need on the last lap here. Yeah, literally a splash and dash for Lynn. So underestimating the amount of fuel he done. So you'll see him going down the standings now, currently in P8. But Andalo and McCain might be able to do, but we'll back up here for P2 overall between Panero, Manny and Naselli. I mean, they are extremely close on track, and could end in tears here. You see Marnie right onto the back of Pinero, just trying to push that Red Lobster looking car up past Pinero. I mean, he's already made light work of Naselli behind, so split the two teammates up as Marnie here coming down to the last lap, but coming down to the spoon. So it really needs to keep this nice and clear. Oh, as Marnie goes in extremely late there, nearly hitting into the back of Pinero. In fact, no, it wasn't Spoon. It's coming up to Spoon now. So Marnie losing a little bit of ground there over Pinero in front, but Naselli on the back is looking and trying to line up a passing move on Marnie. So these three are certainly where the battle's going to be coming into the closing half of this last lap.
Head out of Spoon. It's all about the momentum that you can carry out here, up the hill, past the national pit lane, and into 130R before you lunge onto the brakes. And right now, Pinero knows that. He's moving on, trying to break the slipstream. You hear Naselli feathering the throttle. He's trying to back out of it so he can commit full throttle through 130R and send it up the inside of Jorg Marnie. But he's got his own aspirations as he heads around the outside. Has a bit of a look against Pinero. Here we go. Nom, he's going to take your victory here. But it looks like Naselli's done it over Marnie into the Casio triangle. Naselli gets himself up into the podium places. Pinero second, Naselli third, Antonio Rice. What a race from him. Fifth overall Masters winner. Let's take a look. This is the replay of how Naselli did it. So you can see Marnie just on the attack there. Had to back out of it. And I think...
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, they well called, Andy. He did indeed. And that's what cost him. Why he was so slow off the corner. Wow, Flavio Andalo going to pick up the victory in Spec 2. McCain second, a return to form for him. That's a great result. 10th overall as well to boot. Burkitt second in Masters. Favini running at the podium in Spec 2. Gradwell's going to pick third up in Masters.
Certainly is, and Manny just put it all on the line there trying to get that second place, but unfortunately got it slightly wrong, and Naselli just pit-pocketed him on the last corner there to get the third place from Marnie. But that's what this series is all about, Tim. It's not I'm just going to settle for third place. I want that second place, and you'll see drivers throughout the field, no matter what position it is, if they've got the opportunity and put it all guns to the nail, they will do it to try and make that passing move. And I mean, it's just great to see as we're just watching the battle here between Wobolt and Nelson again, you know, over 27th overall, but still fighting extremely close as they come side by side out of Casio down for a quick sprint to the line. And it looks like Wobolt has managed to get the better of Nielsen there to take that 27th place. But that's a perfect illustration about what this series is all about. It's everything on the line. You know, there's no accepting a position. They will always try and get that position, as we saw there by Marnie in that last lap. Getting it slightly wrong through Casio, but I suppose it's better to try than not try at all.
Let's see for your classified results here from round 9 from Suzuka. Aeronom taking the victory with Pinero second, Naselli just pipping Jorg Marnie. All came down to the final corner for those two in that last podium position. Antonio Rice winning in Masters, 5th overall. A great result for the Portuguese driver. Sergio Dorelli 6th, Castro 7th, Lynn 8th in the end after that late pit stop costing him dearly. Andelo 9th overall, 1st in Spec 2 with McCain 2nd in Spec 2 and rounding out your top 10. Jesus Rodriguez, wow, up 32 places in the end. Started dead last, didn't even set a time in qualifying. Water drive from the Spaniard. Aidan Campbell 12th, Burkitt is 13th and 2nd in Masters, Green 14th. Vavini going to round out your podium in Spec 2, 15th overall was Lesnoy 16th, Gradwell 17th, and last place on the podium in Masters. There's Bakarivi, the Scot, in 18th. 19th is Yuri Cox with Jim Brewster running at the top 20. Then it's Nunes, Lanoy, Horatsky, Jackson, Kern, Bradshaw, Wobolt and Nelson. We saw those two battling right the way to the line with Cantor and Ken Batley going to round out your top 30. Batley being the last driver on the lead lap. Vogel, Delago, gutting for him, and likewise Paolo Gori too. He finished 3 laps down. Walker was at the front early on. He finishes 4 laps down. And then getting in towards the retirement, Montembout in 35th. We lost him on lap 12. Fritcher on lap 11. Bukaboza on lap 6. Conte on lap 7. Hansen on lap 5. Rutenga lap 4. Trispedili lap 4 as well. Rosebert all the way back on lap 2. And Matthias Weiger on lap 2 as well. That is your free car grid here. Let's have a little bit of a chat to some of our drivers. First up, well, it's another victory, and after a break from the championship, back into the swing of things full force last week, and yet again here, Aeronom, congratulations on the victory here today in Suzuka. It all came down to pit strategy, it seemed, and we were saying in the commentary box, they seemed to be the better option to run it in as long to the race as possible, and, well, it worked out for yourself.
Yeah, I was keeping the eye on the gaps. They were pretty close the whole race. I knew we're not going to pit then I'm in the traffic, so my plan was to see the gaps and wait. And when I saw Bonero and Naselli pit, then I keep eye on them, but I was able to be faster alone.
Well, that's because they did come out into traffic, and had you got it in your mind to pit as late as possible when you came into the race, knowing it's a much longer lap here and almost you wait until you caught up to the tail end of the field before pitting and thus not putting yourself into as much traffic, like what the Sully and Panera ultimately ended up doing, and how you managed to get that gap?
Yeah, I was, like I said, I was always keeping the eye on the gaps, and there was like 20 cars within the pit window, so there was no point pitting early. And even if you come out behind the first sector, you lose so much time. Even if you can pass in the straights, still it's too much of the risk.
And obviously early on in the first half of the race, I mean, it was a real close affair, but it all seemed to be very orderly. Was it all about just not really moving offline and not losing any places rather than trying to gain a place?
Yeah, I was driving a little bit defensively, just in case few places to just took the inside line, and but it was very difficult behind Panero. He was lifting and saving as well, and so it was a few close calls.
Definitely, congratulations on the victory. Anyone you want to give a shout out to at all, Aero?
Yeah, like always, I'd like to thank all the drivers, the sponsors, the lead campaigns, and you there guys in the bot.
No problem at all. That's Aeronom, your victor here today from Suzuka in round 9 in the championship. Andy, I understand you're standing by with another one of our drivers.
Hey, good night, guys.
Hello, Antonio. I think Andy's just disappeared off quickly. Oh, no, I think he's back again now. Apologies about that one. Andy,
yeah.
You managed to grab Antonio.
Yeah, I definitely have. Antonio, a great race there. Obviously started really high up in the field from your qualifying after a great qualifying lap, and you managed to keep that position quite consistently at the front of the grid. What was going through your mind? Because obviously in previous rounds you're really good at the qualifying, but when it comes to the race, you sort of fall a little bit further back. But we certainly didn't see that here at Suzuka. What was your race strategy coming into this round?
Oh, was not much strategy at all. I was just trying to keep up with the guys and having some fun, not crashing anyone, and try to be clean, and was enjoying the race. And then I lost a little bit of time on the pit, I suppose, because I got a little bit like 3 or 4 seconds behind Panero when I get out of the pits. So yeah, basically I was trying to finish the race and have some fun, enjoying, and yeah, so, you know, Sunday drive.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, we saw at the start of the race you put an Aeronom under extremes amount of pressure there at the start of the race, being in that top running group. And then, like you said yourself, on the round of pit stops, what quite happened there? Did you take a little bit too much fuel, or was it that pit entry into there? Because it seems to be very quick, and obviously you don't want to be getting that speeding fine. So just walk us through, you know, what happened there in the pit round.
Yeah, it was the entrance. The limit was 80 kilometers per hour, and then I was like 60. I was afraid of going over the limit, so I was very, very cautious. And then on the exit as well, same. So I lost quite a lot of time there because of that pit limit, speed limit.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, but your race, to be fair, wasn't with them guys. It was with the rest of your class. I mean, you were, I think I'm working it out now, 8 positions ahead of your nearest rival. So some great points scored by you today. I mean, you must be pleased with that.
Yeah, I'm very happy with this fifth. I didn't expect, it wasn't expected, but it's nice. It tastes good.
Yeah, definitely. Well, congratulations on your
Thank
win in Masters. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out before we let you go, mate?
Yeah, I always give a shout to Steve Ray for organizing, for money for the setup, and you guys for broadcasting, the sponsors, and people watching, and all the drivers. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on your
Thank
race
you.
in Masters here, and look forward to seeing you in the next round.
Yeah. See you guys. Take care.
There's
Thank you.
Antonio Reese there, obviously the top of your Masters drivers. And Tim, are you standing by with another driver here?
I have indeed. I've managed to pick up our 3rd winner of the day. It was in Spec 2, Flavio and...
Hey Tim, Jonathan, how are you doing, guys?
Well, it looks like Tim might have had some sort of malfunction. Flavio, top of Spec 2 there. Great race today. Just take us through that and your battle there at the end with Alan McCain.
And yeah, that was really unexpected because I'm from Brazil and today is Father's Day here, and I left family lunch, and they asked, "What are you doing?" and going racing, and yeah, so that's like a gift for me. And I had a bad qualifying, started 31st, and really wasn't expecting to go so high in the chart. It was really great.
It's always good. It's always good to see you've got your priorities straight anyway there, putting the racing before a family meal. But it certainly paid off for you, obviously getting that top spot in S2. I mean, just talk us through that battle there at the end with Alan McCain. Did you feel the pressure of him right behind you?
Yeah, I was really sweating there because I came out of in the pit in front of Eden, and I know he's really fast, so I knew it wasn't worth battling him. So I just let him by when he got a chance. I was trying just thinking, okay, I need to just stay in his draft. But then I think it was 2 laps to go. He just spun in front of me. I almost crashed into him, but then I think Alan had to slow down too to avoid him. So from there on, I could get him out of my draft. So after that, I was really comfortable with the end.
Definitely. I mean, obviously up 22 places from where you start. You seem to sort of sieve your way through the field with relatively ease, getting up 22 positions around what is quite a tricky track to master. But did you put a lot of practice in for this session?
I had some official races this week, and it really helped a lot to get the grip of the track. And I noticed that if I get a good run out of the last chicane, it was sometimes it was really easy to overtake some cars, and it really pay off in this race today. There was many times when I got a really good run in the main straight and get to overtake some cars. And of course there was a lot of freebies because a lot of guys crashed, so yeah, it was really good.
I think that's a given with the SRF weekends. There always seems to be some sort of incident. But we'll not keep you for much longer so you can go and rejoin your family for your meal. But before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, as always, to Stevie for organizing this, RaceVoice for the sponsor. It's really great that they keep up with us. And all of the guys that race in this league, they're just great. Alan's great to race too. It was nice battling him. And thank you guys for the broadcast as always.
Thank you for giving us an entertaining race, and we look forward to seeing you in the next round and see if you can do it all again. But get back to your meal with your family, whatever that might be, Flavio. Thank you very much.
Thanks. See you, Andy.
There was Flavio there, your top race in S2, and I think we do have a Tim back with us. Do we have you back with us, Tim?
We do indeed, yeah. Slight technical glitch, and just in time for the end. And what a race it has been here in Japan. But if you're not done for your action, going on right now is IGP Fun F3 on Apex Racing TV. You can join Austin and Seb for that one. Romanelli currently leading that one by 6 seconds, so currently on lap 19 out of 33. Make sure you tune in for that one because there's some cracking action from there. But wow, what a race it has been here yet again. in SRF Weekend Warriors. And, well, we just expect nothing less, really. It's a great series with great fun, great entertainment from green through to checkered. From myself, Tim Cox, Andy Thompson, and Jonathan Grabowski, we'll see you in a week's time here at Apex Racing TV. We'll be coming live to you from Italy at Monza.